All right, you know what time it is. Neil Ratner Rock Doc here with a story. January 27th, 1970, John Lennon went into Apple Studios to record the song Instant Karma, a song he had written a couple hours before. So today, I thought I'd tell you a few things about John Lennon and Instant Karma that you might not know. And as usual, a little background first. All right, so throughout 1969, John and Yoko had embarked on a campaign for world peace, which included various activities and their highly publicized bed-ins. Now, the two started the new year in Denmark, getting to know Yoko's former husband, Tony Cox, and the daughter Cox and Yoko had together named Kyoko. Now, one night, they had a conversation about the concept of karma, which is the belief that your actions now affect your future lives, a concept popular in both Hindu and Buddhist religions. But of course, Lennon saw it a little differently, and according to him, everybody was going on about karma. But it occurred to me that karma is instant as well, as it influences your past life or your future life. I'm fascinated by commercials as an art form. So the idea of instant karma was like the idea of instant coffee, presenting something in a new form. All right, what do you think about that? Okay. Now, on January 27th, 1970, 2 days after returning from Denmark, Lennon woke up with the beginnings of the song. So he sat down at his piano and came up with a melody and a title. Now, John completed the writing of the song in about an hour. You know, all great writers, and I've spoken to many of them. When something starts, when something comes to them, it's like a process that they can't stop and it just happens. Okay, so I assume that was like this. Okay, so he writes the song, and the first person he calls is George Harrison, and the next person, Phil Spectre, who was in London at the invitation of the Beatles' Apple Corps manager, Alan Klein. Now, according to Lennon, he said to Spectre, "Come over to Apple quick. I've just written a monster." Now, John wanted Phil to produce the single as a test before he agreed to let Phil do any work with the Beatles. This was Spectre's work with the Beatles. This was going to be a test run for him. All right. Now, Lennon's fellow musicians at the session were George Harrison, Klaus Voormann, who, of course, you know who that is, Alan White, drummer, and Billy Preston, who was around doing Beatles sessions anyway, all of whom had performed at the December 69 Peace for Christmas concert as part of the Plastic Ono supergroup. Billy Preston, you know, had come on, did the Let It Be sessions. I don't know if you've seen the Peter Jackson Beatles epic. It's very long. I mean, I enjoyed it, and I think you would certainly enjoy some of it if you haven't seen it. A little too long, but really interesting to see the Beatles as they were, you know, pretty normal musicians in the way they interacted and developed songs and stuff like that. Okay, now, Spectre, being Spectre, almost didn't show up. George had to go find him at Apple offices and persuade him to come to the session. Klaus Voormann actually tells a funny story about Spectre. There was this little guy walking around with PS on his shirt, and I was thinking, who is this guy? When he turned on the playback, it was just incredible. First, it was ridiculously loud, but also there was the ring of all these instruments and the way the song had such motion. As a first experience of the difference from the way you played it to the sound in the control room, it was overwhelming, and I knew immediately who he was. Phil Spectre. Wall of sound, you know, very unique and easily recognizable. All right, now the basic track took very few takes, and then Phil worked on creating his famous wall of sound, but this time with just 4 musicians. So Lennon added grand piano onto the basic track, while George and Alan White shared another piano, and Klaus played electric piano. And in addition, the Beatles' personal assistant, Mal Evans, who you saw plenty in that Peter Jackson film, overdubbed chimes or tubular bells. And White then added a second muffled drum part. John felt that the chorus was missing something, so Billy Preston and Mal Evans went to a nearby pub called Hatchett's and brought in a group of people to provide backing vocals. Alan Klein then added chorus vocals with George Harrison directing the singing. Must have been a cool thing to see. Now, Spectre wanted to add a string section to the track, but Lennon insisted that the recording was complete. All right. Now, Instant Karma ranks as one of the fastest released songs in pop music history. It arrived in UK record stores just 10 days after it was written. And according to John, I wrote it in the morning on a piano. I went to the office and sang it many times, so I said, hell, let's do it. And we booked the studio, and Phil came in and said, how do you want it? I said, 1950s. He said, right, and boom, I did it in about 3 goes or something like that. I went in, and he played it back, and there it was. The only argument was that I said a bit more bass. That's all, and off we went. That's it, Instant Karma, great song, and so prophetic in a sense. What happened to John was kind of instant karma in a way. All right. At any rate, that's my story for today, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll have more stories and a reading, and you know where to find me. iHeartRadio on the weekends, Radio Woodstock, and that's about it. All right. As I always like to tell you, always remember to keep on rocking, and I'll see you somewhere real soon. Bye for now.